Hello and welcome to Cruise Today, your first port of call to be kept up to date with the world of cruising right here on your TV cruise channel. I'm Neil Newton, and coming up in this month's programme, we've got the latest cruise news, including the launch of the world's biggest ever ship, Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas. Travel and destination expert Joanna Grove joins me to discuss how you can get the best out of the destinations you visit on your next cruise. We're heading stateside to get a taste of the Hollywood life as we spend 60 seconds in Los Angeles. Plus, sticking with the theme of destinations, we ask what is your favourite port of call, and do you prefer to cruise from the UK or fly right out to the action? So we begin this month's programme with big news, quite literally. The world's largest ever cruise ship has now entered service after months, if not years, of speculation and internet chatter. Royal Caribbean are now the proud owners of Harmony of the Seas. At a maximum capacity of 5,479 passengers, she's officially a record breaker, both for the line and the cruise industry as a whole. Now, Harmony is the third Oasis-class vessel to join the 25-strong fleet. I know it's impolite maybe to talk about a lady's weight, but do excuse me just this once. She weighs in at a colossal 227,000 tonnes, and at a cost of more than $1 billion, she certainly has the wow factor. Now welcoming paying passengers, she was initially unveiled to cruise agents and the great and good. Now, in terms of the history of Royal Caribbean, Harmony comes hot on the heels of sister ships, Oasis of the Seas and Allure of the Seas. The ship's Aqua Theatre was the centre of launch activity as the traditional exchanging of flags took place amid thunderous applause. Royal Caribbean are boasting some of the most technologically advanced facilities available to cruisers, and Harmony will be calling the warm waters of the Med home, as she'll be based out of the Spanish port of Barcelona. She's now earning her keep, taking holidaymakers on week-long Mediterranean cruises. From November, Harmony will be launched on the American market, with Port Everglades becoming her winter getaway, with cruises across the eastern and western Caribbean. As always, if you book to join Harmony, do get in touch and share your news. Details of how you can contact Cruise Today are on the way. We also love, of course, to get your pictures. News from Carnival Cruise Line now, and they tell me that they won't be basing their ship, the Carnival Spirit, in Sydney after all. We'd previously understood that Carnival would be basing it in Australian waters year-round from 2018. That now, though, isn't the case. She's headed for Shanghai for Australia's winter season. Further proof of the growing interest in cruising among the Chinese and wider Asian markets. It's been a U-turn for the line, though, as they originally planned to deploy Carnival Miracle to this particular region. Plans changed as Miracle now remains in North America until at least 2018, and Carnival Splendor remains on course to be positioned in China from 2019. Meanwhile, in Camp Carnival, there's further activity with a recent refit for Carnival Valor. After 16 days in dry dock, Valor is now equipped with new bars and restaurants. Candy store Cherry on Top is now on board, as well as the Alchemy cocktail bar. Football and sports fans can watch the game at the Skybox Sports Bar and indeed the Red Frog pub. Food-wise, it's welcome on board to the Blue Laguna Cantina and American TV chef and personality Guy Fieri. Guy's Burger Joint is now serving up mega burgers and sauces. Destination-wise, there are now 3 to 8 night voyages from Port Canaveral to the Bahamas and the Caribbean. And the work is part of Carnival's ongoing programme to modernise some of their older ships with new experiences. A major overhaul of how Cunard serve food and drink on board the Queen Mary 2 has been taking place. The line, famed for white glove service, have spent time and money remodelling her ahead of a transatlantic crossing. There are 2 new dining options in the Corinthia Lounge and the Veranda Restaurant. Corinthia Lounge, though, replaces the Winter Garden. This becomes a daytime eatery serving both alternative breakfast and lunchtime options. There are also premium coffees on offer. Out goes Todd English, the Mediterranean restaurant. In comes the Veranda Restaurant instead. British food is a speciality with new decor and menus too, and the ever-popular Britannia restaurant remains. Bar-wise, there's the Golden Lion pub, and for something a little more decadent, the Veuve Clicquot Champagne bar. All 3 will benefit from a refurbishment. Traditional British cruise line Fred Olsen are attempting to conquer the ultra-competitive American market. Fred, known as the self-starred friendliest fleet afloat, have just 4 ships in their fleet, and new this month is a website aimed at would-be passengers stateside. At present, only about 2% of the company's customers are American. However, the powers that be believe that their smaller ships will prove a big pull. Balmoral, Braemar, Boudica and Blackwatch will be billed as providing an authentic British cruising experience, holding between 800 and 1,300 passengers. More affordable drinks and no gratuities on bar tabs are just 2 of the reasons why Fred Olsen think they'll be a big hit. Themed cruises in the planning include set jetting. This is where passengers cruise around Britain to discover popular movie locations. Each ship has between 40 and 50 cabins for single occupants, with considerably lower than usual single occupancy charges. On to a line now who've always been famed for their traditional teak decks, and now it's their new pinnacle class of cruise ship. Holland America Line have revealed yet more about the kind of facilities we can expect. Food is a huge part of any cruise, and the MS Koningsdam is now welcoming passengers following her European launch in April. Come 2018, they'll have a new ship join the fleet. Will it, though, boast the current offers of Koningsdam's French-style brasserie, the Selle de Mer? Diners here are presented with a trolley showcasing the catch of the day. The emphasis very much on fresh fish here, and the line report that this offer has in fact led to an increase in bookings. There's also a strong commitment to entertainment. Music Walk is where passengers can listen to several types of music. Jazz and blues fans will just love B.B. King's Blues Club. There's also pop and rock showcased at Billboard on board, and for classical lovers there's the Lincoln Centre stage. Only time will tell, though, what's planned for the next pinnacle class of vessel. Now, browsing the web, downloading videos and uploading pictures to social media is now up to twice as fast thanks to a fleet-wide upgrade at Royal Caribbean. Voom high-speed internet is now available on all 24 ships. It follows on, though, from successful trials on Oasis and Quantum-class ships. For tech lovers, the line has invested to deliver more bandwidth at lower prices. Michael Bailey, President and CEO of Royal Caribbean International, told crews today that all passengers, no matter what ships they're on, are now free to choose whether they want to use the internet for basic web browsing, email and social media, or indeed more involved applications such as streaming that require more bandwidth. Popular with families, there are packages available that can support up to 5 devices or more, meaning that mum, dad and all the kids can take their tablets and smartphones away with them. The latest news from MSC Cruises now, and there's plenty of new innovations planned for the MSC Seaside. In the offing are suspended glass floors, a wraparound outdoor promenade with bars and restaurants opening both day and night, while scenic glass ocean view elevators will whisk passengers between decks effortlessly. In fact, when launched next December, it will have the highest ratio of outdoor space of any ship at sea. When full, she'll carry 5,179 people and will home port in Miami, joining MSC Divinia. A range of cabins will be available, including cluster cabins designed specially with families in mind, and suites with a private outdoor hot tub. It's part of a new smart class of ship planned for the line. An outside sushi bar is just one of 20 bar and restaurants, and activities include state-of-the-art Kinesis Techno Gym fitness equipment and the private MSC Yacht Club, which features a lounge and a restaurant and a solarium too. And finally, news-wise, after a break of several years, World Cruises are back at luxury operator Regent 7 Seas. Come 2017, it's back. Then, the following year, an even longer round-the-world experience. The action is happening aboard 7 Seas Mariner, which has just benefited from a multi-million-dollar refurbishment programme. Wait for it, if you've the time and indeed the money, there's a 137-night cruise across the Southern Hemisphere beginning on on January the 8th, 2018. Los Angeles is your starting point. 5 continents, 28 countries, 64 ports of call and 28 World UNESCO Heritage Sites await. The Pacific Ocean, Hawaii, Australia and New Zealand, Southeast Asia, the Bay of Bengal all feature, as does South Africa, South America and the Caribbean, the Panama Canal, Central America and then, gosh, back to LA. If you're booking, I am very jealous indeed. Now, you can get in touch and share your views on the stories we're covering this month. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search TV Cruise Channel. We'd love to hear from you. Still to come on the programme, Joanna Grove will be here talking destinations, plus what's your favourite port of call? We'll find out after this very quick break. Do stay tuned our way. Welcome back to June's edition of Cruise Today. Still to come in the programme, I'll be chatting with Joanna Grove, but before that, time for our destination delve as we spend 60 seconds in LA, baby. Sprawling between the mountains and the beaches, Los Angeles is quintessential California. Situated in the southern region state of California in North America, some of the many things to do here include the John Paul Getty Museum with a whole collection of art, Universal Studios in the heart of Hollywood, getting your picture taken by the Hollywood sign, or even Madame Tussauds. Whether your taste runs to fashionable Beverly Hills, the mega entertainment of the movie studios, or the sizzle of home-star Mexican food on Olvera Street, the City of Angels is worth exploring. Los Angeles boasts a whole host of shopping centres, designer stores, boutiques and markets all around the city. You can purchase designer clothes, jewellery and perfume on Rodeo Drive, antiques and unusual buys from 3rd Street and Montana Avenue, and local souvenirs from downtown and Sunset Plaza. Who knows, you might even find yourself rubbing shoulders with the Kardashians. Now, moving on, and my guest on this month's programme is quite literally an expert when it comes to destinations. Having worked on board cruise ships for over 8 years, she's travelled the world and is now here with us to share how we can get the most out of destinations we might be visiting on our next cruise holiday. Joanna Grove, thank you very much indeed for joining me here on the sofa. You have got an ideal job. We're going to come on to some of the places that you visited over the years very shortly. But we were talking there about LA and the Kardashians. Ever been to LA?
I have been to LA. I've never met the Kardashians, but I have been to LA several years ago now. But yeah, I've never met them, I can tell you.
There's always time.
There is.
Tell us how your cruise career began then.
Well, my career started in television production, and I decided why not make TV programmes and see the world while I'm doing it. So I worked for a cruise line for about 8 years, working in the shore excursions department. So I was lucky enough to see a lot of the world. I'm now back in the UK working for a shore excursions company, so still working for cruise lines, and still got the opportunity to see lots of fabulous places as well, so I'm very lucky.
Now, you're back on terra firma here in the UK at the moment. What do you choose then for a holiday when it's time for Joanna Grove to go on holiday? What do you choose? I'm
a big sun worshipper, to be honest with you. I'll never rule out a cruise, that's for sure. And I think whether you've worked on a cruise or you're just a cruise holiday maker, once you've done one, you're hooked. I'm sure you know just as well as I do. I think whether I've worked there for several years or not, you can't beat a cruise.
Now, there's lots of people who vote with their feet and indeed agree with you. Cruising is now much more popular than land-based holidays. Why do you think that is?
I think it's a perfect opportunity to get a little bit of a taste of lots of destinations. And I think there's nothing worse than spending a lot of money going to a place and thinking, it's not really worth what we paid, or going somewhere for a couple of days and thinking, I wish we were here for several weeks. So it gives you a great opportunity to have a little bit of a taste of lots of different destinations and then decide, yes, that's the place I want to come back to.
Now, we've all got a favourite, haven't we, when we've travelled the world on holidays. Where's your favourite destination then? Port of call?
Well, I'm lucky. I've done several world cruises, and I like these random little destinations that nobody goes to on holiday. And I have to say my favourite location is a place called Pango Pango in
Pango Pango?
It's in American
do you know,
Samoa.
that sounds like something I used to drink in the 80s, like a cordial, you know, that they used to sell in the 80s. Pango Pango.
Maybe that's where it came from. It's American Samoa is a tiny little island or group of islands down in the Pacific. And I think the best thing about it is that a lot of us would never dream of going on holiday there. So when you arrive on a cruise, even though you're just there for a day, you feel like you're on the other side of the world. The culture's different, the landscape's different. It's a fantastic place. Everyone's so happy and smiley and welcoming. Buses and taxis are all decked out with flowers because they're so happy that you've come to visit. I love that. It's definitely a wonderful place to visit.
Here's one for you. The most unusual thing I think I've ever eaten on my travels was in Africa, West Africa. I actually ate deep-fried rat once, which was as delicious as it sounds. What's the most unusual thing that you've eaten?
Well, I'm lucky enough to have travelled around quite a lot of Africa. And so I've eaten springbok and wild boar and crocodile and snake. The one thing I draw the line at is deep-fried tarantula.
Oh.
I went to Cambodia, and that's a speciality out there. And I'd like to think that I'll happily try anything once before I have an opinion on it. But when I saw a friend eat that, I drew the line there. That's a little bit beyond me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't taste like chicken.
I couldn't tell you. I just couldn't try it. No. One day I might. I'd like to think I'd give it a go because I like to try everything once. But no, I draw the line there.
Where's the most unusual place over the years that you've bumped into somebody, maybe from the UK or from your hometown? You're from Bournemouth originally. Where's the weirdest place that you've bumped into somebody from home turf?
Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea?
Yes, it's a place, another one of those places that feels like you're on the other side of the world. And I was doing a tour to a volcano, and I was stood on the edge of a boiling lake. And everywhere I go, I get chatting to somebody. And the person that I was chatting to next to me actually lives on the same street as my nan.
No.
So it doesn't matter where you go in the world, you meet somebody that knows somebody that you know, and that's definitely the most unusual.
I mean, apart from people from home, obviously, from your nan's road, it's great to meet local people and immerse yourself in the culture. For me, travel is all about experiencing what the locals do.
Absolutely, and I always try to advise anybody, do your research before you go so that you can fit in with the culture when you get there. A lot of world cruisers quite often go ashore as a Brit in a vest top and a short pair of shorts. Some cultures in the world find that offensive, so do your research before you go so that if you want to go into any places of worship, you can cover up, you can dress respectfully to make sure that you fit in with the local population. And
of course, as well, a great escape often from the heat, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of these places, I think, you know, any opportunity to duck out of that boiling sunshine, especially if you're in a place like Rome, for example, where it's all concrete, or in New York, where it's all glass sky-rise buildings. Any opportunity to get off of those sun-scorched streets is a great experience.
I've actually got a big birthday coming up quite shortly. I'm not going to tell you how old I am.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about, you know, maybe a break, a city break incorporated within a cruise. Where would you recommend to me?
Oh, that's a tough one. Maybe Barcelona. I think, you know, Barcelona's got so much to offer in terms of not just culture, but old and new that mingles so well together. You know, you can be on the waterfront in the Olympic Park seeing all these brand new buildings, and then 10 minutes later be down a little side street eating tapas with the local people. Love that.
And have they finished Gaudi's Cathedral? They seem to have been building that for an eternity, don't they?
I think it'll fall down by the time they finish it, I'm sure. I know there's plans to build a subway underneath it.
No.
And the locals are starting to worry now that the vibrations of the underground will actually cause the footings to go before they ever finish building it. So that's still under discussion.
What's on your bucket list then for a lady who's travelled a heck of a lot, both over your professional career and as a hobby, as a pastime? Where would you like to visit?
Well, I've never been to Antarctica. I love nature. I've done a lot of whale watching. I'm very lucky, but stepping onto the icebergs with the penguins and doing a little bit of David Attenborough's job, that would be fantastic for me. I've never done it. I've always wanted to do it. It's still on my list. The problem is the more places I tick off my list, the more places I add to the bottom of it, but that's still at the top. One day I'll get there.
What about if you went away with a group of friends, you know, rather than, you know, as a couple or just, you know, a friend, partner? If you went away as a big group of people, which a lot of people do now, where would you recommend to cruise to?
Probably the Caribbean, if I'm honest. I think if you're going as a group, guaranteed sunshine. You might get the odd rain shower, but it's still warm. Unlimited rum punch, fantastic beaches, and a brilliant party atmosphere. Every time you step ashore in the Caribbean, you've got fabulous music playing, everybody's so happy. That's a great destination for a group.
Favourite island then? Tell me your favourite island in the Caribbean, because it's so different, isn't it? You know, you've got the Dutch influences there, the old colonial British influences too. Which is your favourite island? For me, it's Jamaica. Purely because it's full of rainforest. On one island, you've pretty much got everything you could ask for. Fantastic beaches, beautiful hotels, huge tourist attractions like the Duns River Falls, and really welcoming people, a great atmosphere. I know you get that in most of the Caribbean, but every island's completely different. All those people that say once you've done one Caribbean island, you've done them all. That's absolutely not the case. Everyone has got its own personality, and Jamaica, for me, just tops everything else. Of course, as well, Mount Gay Rum Distillery. Of course. Finally then, Jo, tell me who you would go away with, a famous person, living or dead, on a cruise holiday, and why you choose them. David Attenborough, he's my hero, purely because I love my nature. Like I say, I've done whale watching. Any opportunity to go and see some birds of paradise or the Galapagos Islands, yes, to take him with me would be my perfect holiday. Oh, Joanna, I tell you what, I would just take you. I wouldn't pick anyone. Well, you're famous anyway, aren't you? Joanna Grove, it's been lovely to meet you. Thank you for popping in. Thank you. Talking holidays. I've got my passport out now. Excellent. Now, for our talking point, it seemed only right to ask you, what is your favourite port of call? And lots of you got in touch to share your views. Dawn from Bradford says, Neil, I like to jet straight out to the sunshine in Barcelona, then cruise the Med. Ooh, sounds good. Adrian from Dorset likes to fly out to the sun, then cruise the Adriatic to Qatar. And Jean Nevin is a girl who takes after my own heart. She says she wants to fly to Barbados, then cruise the Caribbean. You can join in on the conversation, plus vote in our polls. Just find us on Facebook and Twitter. Hit the like and follow button. We'd love to hear your views. And that's a wrap on this month's edition of Cruise Today. Join me in July when we'll take you on board a brand new cruise ship that the Daily Mail have described as the world's most luxurious. Until then, though, thanks for watching and see you back here soon on TV Cruise Channel.